That's such a great intro, man. All right, let's go to channel 2. This is in the minus mode of the Herbert. Channel 3. There's that Diezel thing. I got the new shirt on too. Check this out. Yeah. Jump over to the store and grab one of those. Put some pitch shift on it. The Diezel Herbert, there you have it. It is one of my best friends and a desert island amplifier. I'm using the Fractal VP4 for the effects. Sounds really good. good. Yeah, the Fractal effects stuff is just top notch. I really love it. It's really neat. Really great sound and stuff right there. Yeah, so it's the end of the year. I had really no intentions of trying to live stream today because I was been in the process of finishing up the studio as far as cleaning up the other side of the studio. And I thought, man, am I going to try to live stream? Am I not? But I figured we'd kind of hang out anyways and go for it and just see what would happen. Play some amps, do some Q&A, and maybe just kind of fellowship here a little bit at the end of the year. There's some really great stuff we're going to be announcing at NAMM with my family, with Sir. We've got some cool new stuff coming out. And, just wrapping up what I think is one of the biggest years of my career. This year, I've always done the sideman thing, not the sideman thing, the solo artist thing. Like, I've always been with a bigger artist and did my solo stuff on the side. I mean, first 3 or 4 records were like that. It was always like a side hustle. This year, boy, it really went full solo, like big time. And a couple of those high points revolve around certain people in the industry kind of putting their hand on your shoulder. You know what I mean by that? Like, I didn't reach out to guys like Tim Pierce or Rick Beato and ask them to be on their channels or any of that kind of stuff. They invited me, and that invitation in from guys like that, it's like being knighted or something. You know what I mean? It's like when Rick Beato puts you on his channel, says stuff like, the kind words that he had to say about my playing, and let me play my tunes and wanted to talk gear, like, and Tim Pierce saying the things that he does and name dropping me. It's like, it really is. It's like those are the Arthurian round table kind of guard, and for them to just put their hand on my back, it really changed my career. And 2025 was a huge year for my career. Personal loss in 2025, losing my grandmother. I feel like I've just been getting punched year after year with the losses in my family. I just feel like I'm just getting gut punched on that side of it. But on the career side, it's like I couldn't imagine the kind of success that we've been blessed with and the reception from you guys, that doesn't go unnoticed. I thank my stars every day that you guys were so kind about the new record and you really liked Charisma, and it was in Guitar Player magazine and, all this kind of stuff. It was just a huge, huge year for that. And it was also seeing the 10-year anniversary guitars from Sir get out there and get into the public, and people, blew me away. I originally was going to do 50 in orange and 50 in red, and those orders fulfilled in a matter of minutes. And so we released another 50. So it was 100 in red and 100 in orange. And that was just, it blew me away. And I just want to express how much gratitude I have to anyone that's in the live stream right now, and to anyone that may be watching this at a later date. You guys made 2025 something that I couldn't imagine. Another massive highlight was the winning of the Telly Awards for the music videos. We did a music video for Rooster and Free Range Chicken and Master Gracie's Manor. Master Gracie won a gold Telly Award, and the others won silver and bronze. Couldn't believe it, man. You know, we ended up winning, I don't know, like 5 Telly Awards for those music videos. Just unbelievable. And that's really a different kind of thing, right? Because the Telly Awards, they're not really popularity contests. As you can't get all your buddies and your followers to vote on it. You know what I mean? That's just kind of an industry thing. They decide what gets it and what doesn't. And when the production manager and director of the music videos said he had submitted us, I was like, man, that's cool. You know, I didn't think anything. That's kind of like the end of it. You know, I didn't think it was going to go farther than that. But to be blessed with winning it was really something, you know, I couldn't believe. But the work was there, the vision was there. We all knew we were working on something that was cool, and we were like, yeah, this will be cool. But it came from a lot of the work on the album and the music videos came from a place of trying to make something that we liked. You know what I mean by that? Like, not that you don't want other people to like it. And this is a lot like music in general. But you're the one that has to live with it. You're the one that has to... you're the one that's got to go to bed with your songs, you know. Do you like them? Right? So it's like that was the whole starting and stopping of it for us was like, man, we got to make this cool because it's us, you know. It's an us thing. And it's got to have a little bit of selfishness in there because I'm the one that's got to play it on stage. If I don't like it and I'm up there hating life when I play, if I hate that, then we have a whole new problem, right? So it was really an incredible year. 2025 will definitely go down in the books for us. So I thought it might be cool just to have some open-ended Q&A today. Not really any other plan than to fire up the Diezel. I know a lot of you guys are always like, man, play the Diezel, play the Bogner. You know, it's like this whole Diezel was my first. Let me tell you a quick story about this amp. When I was about 20 years old, I'm 21. I was 21. I was in a band called Down From Up, and some of that music is still out on iTunes. And we were kids, man. We were 20-year-old, 21, 22, 23-year-old kids. And we were trying our best. You know what I mean? We were out on the road opening for Seven Dust, and we were opening for Drowning Pool. We had a couple of spots every now and then where we got to open. I think we opened for Buckcherry one time in Knoxville at the Civic Coliseum. But we were on the road touring, you know, going on first. Oh, let me tell you about going on first. When you're in your 20s and nobody in the audience cares and you have to make them care, that's really where you earn your stripes, you know, or I feel like we did. We had to do things. They didn't have our songs. They didn't have our music. We had to do things to make them be aware. We were opening for 10 years. We were opening for Seven Dust, you know. These are bands that are successful, have, you know, gold records, platinum records. And we were really trying to fight the good fight. And so I was, you know, all this stuff it was coming down the pike at us. And I grew up, man, I didn't have money growing up. My dad was a cop. My mom would sing in a cover band every now and then, country music, and a little extra money would like pay for daycare or whatever, right? So we didn't have money growing up, but man, my parents really worked hard to give me, I didn't have the best instruments, but I had an instrument, you know. I didn't have the best mandolin, but I had a Kentucky. I had something that I could play on. It was up to me, right? Didn't have the best guitars, but I just had a blue Telly, you know, like figure it out, right? Trying to play Satriani songs with a Telecaster, right? So I really made the decision that I was going to go full tilt and really pursue music on a heavy level. And this is all related to this amplifier. I had worked in theaters in Pigeon Forge, like playing guitar, or actually playing more mandolin and acoustic in these theaters, and I'd saved up enough money, and took out a loan, for a Toyota Supra, right? I wanted one. It was, this is before Fast and Furious, or right when Fast and Furious came out. It was right when it came out. And I got one, I think it was $23,000. That might as well have been $100 million to me. Like, I couldn't believe that I was able to finance $23,000, right? So I had my Supra. And that was my prized possession. God, I wish I still had that car. And it was the Fast and Furious body style, first real sports car. So come time in my life to make the decision to really invest in myself on music, and we were getting ready to go out on some of these tours, and I needed a real amp. I didn't have a real half stack. So I'd paid off my car. I'd worked really hard, taken every gig for $75, playing in Knoxville, any bar that would allow me to play, man, right? I would go and play in club and just work my butt off, Got the car paid off. I couldn't afford any gear. And so a Diezel at that time, I remember it being about $4,000. It was like $4,200 for the head, right? Not the cabinet, not the TC Electronics little effects unit that I had, G system, right? And I didn't know anything about gear. I was on Rig Talk. I was trying to figure out how to make stuff change channels. What was I going to do? So I went to the bank with the title of the Supra, and I laid the title down, and I took out another $12,000. And again, these amounts of money, they might as well have been $100 million. Like those numbers, when you're that age, they're bigger than any, as you become an adult, you finance a house, you start seeing crazy numbers. You're just like, what in the world? But at that point in time, that money felt just astronomical. It felt like the most money in the world. And so I knew I really had to pull it together and focus. And the first real big boy amp I bought was this Diezel Herbert. And I bought a cabinet to go with it and a G system. And this amp has been such a workhorse for me. This amp's been all over the planet with me. When I was in 2014, I got my first really highly responsible gig. That was when it shifted from being in Down From Up to being a sideman for big artists. Creed and Scott Stapp had split, and the Creed boys, Mark and those boys, had started Alter Bridge, and Scott was doing a solo thing. Scott had done a record with Howard Benson, and Phil X had played on the record and all this stuff. Well, Scott needed a band, and through some of my connections, there was a guy named Danny. Danny was one of the first guys that got me on Shiprock, man. We were going on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. And I was doing a gig in LA, and I was basically a stunt guitarist for this benefit for the Deftones. So the bass player from the Deftones had that horrific health issue, and it was a fundraiser, and they needed a stunt guitarist that could play like when the bass player from POD was going to be on stage and they didn't have a guitar player. They needed, the drummer from Breaking Benjamin was going to be on stage. They didn't have a guitar player, right? So I worked with those guys. I was a stunt guitarist, and the drummer got the gig with Scott, the drummer from Breaking Benjamin. And so Scott needed a guitarist, and that's how I got that gig. This amp went out with me on that tour. Served me well all of 2014. Huge rack, big boy effects, big mega tour. Next year, the following year, I was one of 5 people that got to come in and jammed some tunes with Gary and Jay and Jodan, Flats Boys, right? So that was 2015, and every guy basically brought in a guy. My buddy Travis Toy voted on me. He was like, hey man, y'all need to get Andy. So I came in there and I was basically Travis's little buddy, and we all played and I got the gig for Flats. That really changed my trajectory and respect resume building thing, whatever you want to call that thing. Legitimized it on a level that it's hard to put into words, because those are the biggest gigs on earth. Like, you go out with Kenny Chesney, you might as well be going out with Katy Perry. You know what I mean? These are the biggest gigs in the United States, like some of the biggest gigs on the planet. You play in football stadiums. You know what I mean? So that really changed my game, and some of those connections that I met on that tour are still some of my dearest friends and most respected musicians that I've ever known. And this relates to the Diezel Herbert. That's the amplifier I took. And so I took the Diezel Herbert and the Rhodes Colossus, and I was running those in stereo. And it's ironic, man, now that I think about it. It was about this time in 2014 that Travis had called me. We were doing an after Christmas gig, and I was in South Carolina playing a bar down there in South Carolina. Travis goes, hey man, what are you doing? What are you doing next year? I was like, I don't know. He's like, what are you doing next week? I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to come to Nashville and you're going to audition. I was like, for what? He's like, Flats. I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that sounds good. So that was about this time in 2014. And to this day, some of those guys, man, Jay, Gary, Jodan, they're still friends of mine. Like, I still work with Gary all the time. I saw Jay at the Dan Huff gig, and Jodan, just talked to him on Instagram this morning. It's like these three dudes have been so valuable to me now. And outside of them, the orbiting people, Jim Riley, Mike Hicks, good God. There's not enough great words to say about Jim Riley and Mike Hicks, and David Graff and Mark Hull and John Lozier and all these guys that I've met through that camp. Andy Knighton. I mean, there's Tristan. There's just a million dudes that were through that camp that were so valuable to me. I learned so much, and I still good buddies of mine. Still talk to those boys a lot. But yeah, this was one of the amps that's been with me on every step of my journey, and it's the amp, if I'm not mistaken, on Charisma. It's in drop D, so I'm not going to do a drop D, but it's the amp that's doing the... It's the amp doing a lot of those big crunch guitars, and it's just a daggum workhorse. And a lot of people ask me, what's the Desert Island amp? You only get one amp, no pedals, and I'm just like, it's got to be the Herbert. If it's a one amp scenario and I'm not allowed to have any pedals, got to be a Diezel Herbert. It's just such a workhorse. It just sounds great. All the channels sound great. The cleans are great. The crunch channel 2 is worth its weight in gold, I'm going to reach back here and grab my drink real quick. All right. Now, with that said, a little story time. Fun year, end of the year. Retrospective story time. Always kind of fun to reminisce about that stuff. Romanticize about it, Very blessed though, that's for sure, man. Very, very, God has been good to me for sure. So let's roll through some of these questions here as I kick open this super unhealthy energy drink. It's gonna give me strength and power to clean up this studio. All right. We got Chris is putting together Legos here at the end of the year. General says Andy's guitar always sounds so good. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing playing in tone. Thank you. A lot of people, man, they sleep on this VP4. They just go, why would I want that if it doesn't have the amps in it? I'm like, all of the horsepower for the effects is in that thing. Like, it is my favorite thing that Fractal makes. VP4. My favorite thing I make. Pulled the trigger on the FM3 today. Can't wait to get it. Going to be amazing. If you want FM3 patches, we've got bundles on my website. A lot of people always talk about my delays and stuff. You know, that was something I've definitely learned from Timmons on how to do that. Sasha is saying, Andy, your appearance at Guitar Summit this year hit the scene in Europe like a bomb. Your gig was amazing. Thank you, Sasha. Very kind. That was another super highlight. You know, you got a bunch of boys from East Tennessee going out there really doing our thing for the first time in Germany. Previous year, I've always been a guest sitting in with somebody else. It was the first time for us to get up there and do our thing. Then we had a couple thousand people there. It was just beautiful. It was just really, really beautiful, man. Jay is in the house. Do you know if Steve has seen the video yet? Such a great way to wrap up the year. Jay's talking about the passion project of the Steve Morse tune. And that was the Joy to the World arrangement. Now, Jay, I don't know if Steve has seen it. Steve, if you do see it, you know, I hope I didn't let you down. I love that arrangement so much. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of that flu thing. I love that arrangement so much, and it's to this day probably my favorite. And you know, it's easily top 3 favorite guitar arrangements of Christmas tunes is the Joy to the World. So, you know, I tried to tackle it as best I could. Ended up around 34 guitars. It was something. Yeah, Brad's in the house. Music and friendship, gotten through lots of stuff. Same, that's a two-way street, my friend. A lot of kind words about Rooster. He says, this is Glenn. Glenn's saying the cover of Rooster is really innovative. I appreciate that. You know, to me, let me get on a different channel with the amp. To me, that was one of those things that just kind of started taking care of itself, you know, as far as such a great melody. Just such a great melody, and the harmonies in that are just so beautiful that it just kind of started taking care of itself. Just some songs, man, they just make great guitar arrangements, and you know, a lot of the inspiration for that was like the way Jeff Beck would take tunes that weren't guitar instrumentals and he would turn them into guitar instrumentals, you know. That was such a Jeff Beck thing that I really loved. Like, he would take Day in a Life by the Beatles. Or, you know, Timmons is really great at that. Take tunes that aren't guitar instrumentals and turn them into guitar instrumentals, you know. And I think Timmons definitely gleaned that from Jeff, as we all do, right? And I'm not a metal player, but I've been in a lot of heavy metal circuits and circles in my life. I have a lot of friends in heavy metal. and hard rock, and I have a lot of industry folks in that world, and I've played a lot of those kind of festivals and things, various formats. So I wanted to have something from that world that wasn't, you know, a shred-a-thon, something that I could interpret. And that was the inspiration, was, you know, such a beautiful tune, gosh. And then, you know, bringing in the Octafuzz to be the kind of the hero of the song is the Octafuzz, to kind of emulate how Lane's voice was so just had all of this tooth, you know, fang on it, you know. So that Octafuzz is a GNI, if anybody's curious. It was a GNI Octafuzz, you know. Here's Jimmy Yoder saying, Andy, have you ever worked with Tom Bukovac? Any funny stories or memories? I've not worked with Tom, Uncle Larry, but he and I have texted a couple of times. We have so many overlapping circles. Tom and I have friends that are, you know, the Sean Tubbs of the world, the Dan Huffs of the world. You know, Dan is very much a bridge for Tom and I, because I'm friends with Dan, and Dan's friends with Tom. And, you know, I think boys at XTS, you know. And I've been a fan of Bukovac since I was reading album credits. I mean, it's Tom Bukovac. Like, the guy can play the simplest thing on the planet, make it sound amazing. Like, make it sound better than anybody else could make it sound, you know. So Tom and I have texted a little bit. We have a guy on YouTube that loves to troll us and talk smack about us. So that's the funniest story that I've got. For whatever reason, this guy on YouTube, he really loves to talk trash about us. So it makes me laugh, you know. That's the funniest thing that I got. But yeah, you know, I'd love to have Tom over at the Woodshed. I'm trying to get maybe him and Guthrie to come do something over at Woodshed together. We've had Guthrie Trap, so it'd be nice to have those guys. Sasha, any news regarding the lineup for next year's Woodshed Guitar Experience? I am desperately, fingers crossed, that my guy that I put in the offer for our guest of honor will take it. So I'll hope to know that soon. Yeah. Andy, if you're going to open the floor for questions, which I am, could you open your Fractal Edit and build us a preset, a tone with drive, delay, reverb, and pitch shift? Yeah. Actually, I mean, if you want me to, I can, sure. Let's just take a look here. How about we do one for the AM4? Because I'm going to be making tone packs for the AM4. So let's just open this up and see what we got. Yeah, there it is. I think you guys should be able to see that right now. I'm playing through the AM4, and this is a patch that I made that's kind of Steve Morse-esque. Let me turn the output level down. I think I'm cooking you a little bit. That should be better, right? Too much? So this is one that I was kind of noodling on. Let me start from scratch here. How about that? Let's bring up some preset sections that I was working on back in, I don't know, around this area, somewhere back through here. Yeah, here we are. We've got some high gain stuff. Let's just bring up maybe this one, this F3 right here. This is an empty block. And you wanted what in there? Says, this is for Fort Worth, Texas. Could you open your Fractal edit and build a preset tone with drive, delay, and reverb? Maybe pitch shift. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I like to do is see if I need the reverb. So let's start with just putting a delay in there. And we'll see if we need the reverb at all. Let's do a dual delay. Let's set this to, I don't know, 50. And this one to 45 or 40. Why is it not spreading? I don't know why that's not feedback left. Left and right. Yeah, it's panned. I don't know why it's not doing its thing. Let me just turn it up a little bit. I don't know what's going on with that, why that's not splitting, but it should be. Maybe we need dual digital stereo. Which one do I like? I thought it was dual delay. I don't know why that's not doing the spread thing that it should do. Let's just check another patch and see if it's something wrong with the delay. Yeah, that one's doing the thing. Maybe it was the panning on it that was wrong. Let's just try again. Let's pull in an amp. Let's just check and then see if we got a delay. It's definitely dual. Pan left, pan right, yeah. I don't know why that's not spreading, but it is on this other one. What's different? Let's just do this. Let's copy the delay patch. Let's copy the block. Edit. Copy block. That's how we're going to solve that problem. You know. Tell me you can't do it. I know you can. Let's do this. Now let's paste. Edit. Paste block. Now let's see what we got. Now it's doing it. Yeah. Okay, cool. And you wanted high gain? Did you want something gainy? Could you open your Fractal a bit of preset tone with some drive, delay, and reverb? Let's not do something crazy. Let's do, you know, maybe a Marshall-y kind of thing. JM45 always sounds good. Maybe that. Adjust some of this stuff. That's pretty nice right there. Let's bring up this mix to 50. Let's bring up this one to 40. Let's put a little bit more mix on it. And then let's put in a couple of dB of ducking. So when I start playing. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe if we do this right, we don't need a ton of reverb. We'll let the delays kind of do the heavy lifting. So now the next thing we're going to do is go to the cabinet block and try to get something that I like here. Let's just cycle through a couple of these 412s. I always like this MC90 though. kind of sexy right there. Let's leave that on for now. Let's bring in a drive pedal. See what we got. That's nice already. I mean, it's like it's kind of doing its thing, isn't it? Let's pull some of this top down. Maybe right there. Added compression. No, he didn't want any compression on there, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it like this for now. Let's just kind of see what the amp will do by itself. Turn some of these controls down. It's already kind of rocking, isn't it? You know, maybe just goose up some gain. That's kind of doing cool stuff right there. That feels good. Let's just max this out. See what happens. Not the most friendly on the tap stuff. That's all right. I guess it don't need to be. This thing will kind of slice through the. This will slice through a mix for sure. It's got those mids rocking. Just check it. that sounds nice in the mix, right? I think it really sounds, it's like you get those mids kind of rolling around, and that's the kind of tone that'll just really cut in a mix. I think it sounds nice. Okay, we'll just. Did you want some? Oh, you know what you can't do? You can't do pitch shift on the AM4. So that one's out just in general. So let's do this. Let's do a beep boop. I mean, that sounds good. You've got a block here to be anything that you might want, which could be cool. Let's just save that. We'll save that AWJVM lead. Okay, so now that's in the bundle. So I've got a nice little selection here of things that I've made. I've got a Lone Star here. Can't quit playing that. Here's the drive on it. And then I've got an LA clean that I made. Yeah. And it sounds like kind of nice. And then I've got a Timu Brent. I might put a compressor on that block right there. I got a jazz bow, got a high gain one. Kind of nice. 70s Strat, you know. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, like this. Kind of nice. And then the JVM lead that we just made, which is good. This one feels nice under the fingers. Sounds kind of good, right? Yeah. Yeah. So those are the ones that I've kind of got pre-made in here. Yeah. I hope you like that. So by request, it's kind of unintentional situation to get into. But yeah, so that was up here. That was from Fort Worth, Texas. Man, we got a lot of people hanging out. We'll keep rolling here for a little bit. I'm just seeing if there's any more good questions right up here at the top. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way. See what you guys have got going on. First tube amp is the white Rev. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would get in trouble if I didn't mention the merch again. There it is. Nice big free range chicken right there for you. Jump over to the store at Andywood Music and snag one of those here. Get you looking good for the new year. We got a bunch. We got an amplifier one, a guitar, a tube, like a valve that would be in an amp. It's some good stuff over there. I've been working hard to try to make the merch look cool and not be like an Andy Wood logo. You know, we only have like one or two shirts that's like got my name on it. I don't know why that weirds me out, but it does. But yeah, these are just kind of just good looking shirts. They're just small little nuggets. Talking about the Diezel amps. Yeah. Slippets goes back to the Germany thing, and he's saying the jam with Timmons was mind-blowing. We played Imagine Love, one of my tunes, and we played No Quarter, and boy, they were fun. Man, really fun. Barge is saying the best. I agree. I have a lot of Fractal products, but the VP4 is perfect. Just add it to your favorite tube amp. Yeah, I love it, man. Jay's saying, have you experimented with ribbon mics on acoustic for body and warmth, looking for clones of the classic RCA 44? You know, Travis Wyrick, I recorded his studio, and we've messed with a lot of different things. We've done some ribbons. We've done some, condensers and all kinds of different things. It's always, with acoustic instruments, Jay, it's placement over anything else. That's what I found to be so true. It's just... Not that the condenser versus ribbon versus all this stuff, it all matters. But some of your favorite acoustic recordings, they didn't have the kind of gear that we have access to now. So they were just trying to get it placed well. Mason's in the house. Everybody go check out Mason. He's a young guitar player, Mason Cutting. He's really coming up and paying his dues and learning the songs, and everybody go to his Instagram, check him out. What is one guitar or amp you wish you wouldn't have sold? You've got it. Lawrence is saying, what is one guitar or amp you wish you would have sold? I never wish I sold one. If I've got one that I wish I didn't sell, I had a purple Van Halen Music Man. I wish I never sold that. Taras is saying me and Matteo Mancuso are the reasons why he picked up after 7 years of hibernation, really helped through the hardest times. Man, I really, really appreciate that. Matteo is an incredible player. Golly dang, he's so good. And Now you're saying you're a converted Telly fan. I mean, Tellys are the truth. I love Tellys. They just, that's what I play. It's just, that's the thing that makes it work for me. You know, like I feel the most comfortable on a Telly. Yeah. Cheers, everyone. A lot of happy New Year's. Question here saying, have I ever tried the Quad Cortex? You know, I played it when Jack Gardner had it set up, and I like Jack's tone. So I'm not, you know, that's about as far as it goes. Do you know if the Sir Moderns can come with the same electronic pickups as my beautiful red Sir Modern? I'm in the market for one. I love your red Modern. Yeah. There's nothing really crazy about that. That you're talking about this one over here. Yeah, you can get those electronics. Yeah. All right, just checking here. Do you have any presets for the AM4? I lost my spot here. Sorry, where did that go? Yeah, that are available to us. This is Jake saying, Andy, do you have any presets for the AM4 that are available to us? Yeah, that's this bundle that I'm working on right now, and I'll put this preset we made today in there. Patreon members are going to get them first, and then they're going to go to the store to be able for sale. So if you're a member of my Patreon, and let me just talk about that community for a second. Those guys, man, golly dang, what a great group of people that we've got on that Patreon. If you join up and you're at ground zero, you don't know what to expect. There's like 600 posts. All you do is just scroll the wall. There's everything. There's YouTube lessons. There's you could go all the way back to when I turned it on and see the day one post, which is kind of nutty. It's so like glued together in those early days. But now it's like we do a weekly live Zoom masterclass that's really great. That's on usually on Wednesdays because this year it'll be the holiday though, so we may move that a day. But it's a great community, and they over there at the Patreon, they get all the access to things like this before we release them. And also that's included. It's not like you join Patreon and then buy the packs. Like you just get them for being a Patreon member. So yeah, that's that thing. There'll be two ways to get it. Join Patreon or just wait till I have them listed on the website for sale. Yeah. Andy, have you ever tried jamming with Doug Rappaport? Yeah, I like Doug. He's a great dude. Great player. Yeah. Fort Worth, Texas says, I always want to add reverb as it disguises the errors of my playing. Plus, I feel like it adds the creaminess of the tone. Look at this. That's the front part of that sentence is the one you need to latch onto. Don't look for things to disguise your playing. In your practice time, look for the things to make the playing sound creamy, right? Like if I played everything like, that's real jarring. Even I'm turning the delay off, right? Like, look. That just sounds like, a mess. And on the other side of the coin, there's a lot of dudes that pile on the distortion and they kind of go for like, and it's also a mess. Like that is also terrible. So when you're playing, try to work on the things that will make the playing sound better. So like if you're just like we've been playing that Steve Morse thing today a lot. You're just looking at those chords. Just try to play things that sustain through that. And if you're trying to work on the speed thing and you want that fluidity, be on the bridge pickup where it's the most gnarly. And try to get that sustain and that creaminess from the guitar itself. stuff's like flying by too fast. The same thing applies to any speed that you're trying to practice, any difficulty. Be honest with yourself as a player. Are you the guy that's turning up the backing track so loud that it's kind of blurring with what you're playing, so it helps? You know, that's like makeup. That's not really going to get you there. It's like steroids, right? Like, it's a short-term fix, but the better investment is in the quality of the note and spending the time to see if you can get the notes to ring out and be clear, you know? I work on it all the time, man. There's hard sections of my tunes that are easily flubbed, right? Like, I want it to be surgical. Surgical. When I play that section in Master Gracie, I don't want it to be flubbed, just kind of glazed over, you know? Like, that was a wrong one. Clean, right? Even with like not barring the notes, staying away from this thing because it doesn't sound clean. That sounds the cleanest, right? And so now I'm not having to hide behind reverb or distortion to get this stuff to sound ripping and sound like really like a fighter jet. You know what I mean? Sounds so clean, right? It's like, let me put that on and you can kind of hear, you know, what we're fighting for with that. Like, no delay, no reverb. I want it to just be like surgical, and every note kind of roll into the next note. Like, I want it to just be lethally clean and it not be something that has to be set up with the perfect tone, or I've got to have everything and standing in the right order, or I can't do it. Like, if I can't do that on this tone or another tone or that amp, then I really can't do it. You know, this holding yourself to a really impossible standard is super unhealthy. I know that. I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome, and I deal with a lot of like, I'm not that good. I kind of suck. I don't really know. It's like I have to really remind myself that the levels that I want to achieve, at times can be unrealistic to maintain some kind of like healthy mentality. But on the flip side of that, if you want to be a better player, you've got to be your own worst critic. And I'm not saying that I don't like reverb. I am saying don't use reverb as masking tape and duct tape and a protective layer for your playing. Reverb should be a seasoning that you bring in to just make something feel good, or sound like a certain way, or provide a certain mood. You shouldn't be using reverb as a mandatory thing to disguise the errors. I'm going to quote you, disguise the errors in your playing. That'll just get you in the wrong headspace, I think, as a musician who wants to better their playing and be a better player. And that's not equating it to being a professional or being a weekend warrior or any of that stuff. I think it's just enjoying the chase of the guitar and being a better guitar player. So when you go play an acoustic guitar, you sound good on an acoustic guitar too, right? Yeah. A great question, Carson, saying, did you hear Guthrie using the IR of the violin? Yeah, I did, and it's killer. I really thought that was super fun. Drowning saying, no questions, just thank you for the info and the wisdom technique. Having great attitude. Cheers, man. Yeah, cheers. Happy New Year, everyone. Restringing the telly for the New Year's Eve gig. Yeah. Yeah. There's some good comments here. Let me just set this on up here like that. Okay. Andy, can you tell us about a time where you were the worst musician on the bandstand and you felt immediately that you needed to step it up? How did you combat that? Man, it's like that's a really easy situation to be in at any moment in time for myself. I was going to see the Dixie Dregs as a fan. And I get a call on my phone and say, hey, man, is this Andy? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm the manager for the Dregs. The boys want you to sit in tonight. Did you bring a guitar? And I was like, of course not. I'm going to a concert. Why would I bring a guitar to the concert? Oh, it's cool. You can play one of Steve's. Sit in. And Steve plugged me right into this dry amp. I was like, oh, God. A great example of like you need to have your playing together so it's not terrible. It's like when you're on the dry amp. But when I look across the stage and it's Dave LaRue, Steve Morse, or Andy West, I think, was playing bass that night. It was Dave LaRue earlier and Andy West for the Dregs. Jordan Rudess on keyboards. You just go, well, this is the stuff that I grew up listening to. I am immediately outclassed. I am out of my fighting weight. And you got to remind yourself, I think the bigger part of your question that you're asking me is, how did you combat that? You got to remind yourself that you're there for a reason and be present. This is something inspirational I saw from a Michael Jordan thing. A guy was saying Michael Jordan wasn't the greatest because he could jump the highest, or it was the greatest because he was the most present, and he didn't worry about missing a shot that he hasn't even taken yet. He was in the moment, not living in the future. So when you get nerves and you get those butterflies and it's bothering you, you're worried about what's gonna happen. You're not worried about what's in the moment. And being in the moment is where the pocket is. Being in the moment is where your tuning stability is, your pitch, your picking control. Being in the moment, not worried about the thoughts of others. This is, it's a little Star Wars-y a little bit. It's the when Yoda's telling him to move the plane, I can't. It's too big, right? He's trying to move the X-wing. It's only big. It's only different in your mind. It's just the same thing. And it's also a little bit like in The Last Samurai. If you guys have seen that movie, it's a great movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. Tom Cruise is a cowboy. He's like a old West frontier army ranger kind of guy that gets displaced into Japan. And so he gets taken in by the samurai village. And the guy's trying to teach him how to use a samurai sword. And he's like, you got too many mind the people watching. It's like minding the too many mind. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. So he's thinking about everything that's not where he is, not being present. So how do you combat that? It's like, Andy, tell us more about the time where you're the worst musician on the bandstand. You felt, how do you need to step it up? How do you combat that? Nothing will shake you to the core like being on stage with your heroes. I have looked up to Eric Johnson and Brent Mason and Dan Huff and Steve Morse and Andy Timmons for decades. when you finally get those opportunities and they come around and, it starts to become your turn and that thing starts coming forward and it starts to become your turn at the game, you got to keep your mind focused in the moment. Play like you. Do the things that you do. Don't try to, don't be worried about, just be in the moment. Be present. Play like you. Don't try to do the things that you can't do. It's being in the moment, It's really hard to do that too. Like when I played the song a few minutes ago, I wasn't really worried about the song. I was worried about, is this tone in the mix? It's like, it sounds pretty good. It's like my mind wasn't on the music. It was on the tone. Versus if it had to been a performance, which I guess it should have been. Anytime you play a song, it should be a performance. But that's where staying focused and being like, man, this is really on the groove and the pocket. Am I playing cool stuff or am I trying to, swing for the fence and it doesn't really sound good, all of this stuff, just being present. All right. The patches that you did yesterday, are they going to be in the Zoom bundle? Yes. So this is Daniel. And Daniel is asking about the patches that we did on Patreon. That's another thing, is a lot of times I'll go live on Patreon on a Zoom call while I'm editing or working and letting people see me work. So that's another thing that's over on Patreon. And yes, they will be in the Zoom bundle. Yeah. Happy New Year's. AKG 441 is a Swiss Army knife. Yep, I'll back that. 441 is a great one. Yeah, Troy's saying turn off all those schmutz. That's right. Reverb and delay is just another instrument. That's right. Learn your cleanliness and speed on acoustic. Start to bring it. That's how I did it too, for sure. Runk is saying free range chicken is killing me. It's about being that relaxed thing. When it flips upside down, all of the picking strokes go the other direction. That's what makes free range chicken deceptively hard. Like, it's really hard. And, it's because of that. True World, thank you for the beer money, my friend. Thank you for that. I'm going to go to a Mexican restaurant and I will put that $5 towards an ice cold Corona. And I thank you for it. Thank you guys for being a part of my community and being a part, and it's not even my community. Let me rephrase that sentence. Thank you guys for creating a community that I get to host. The community is nothing without you guys. And it's so cool to be in here week after week, having guys that love guitar. It's so great to be on Patreon and making stuff and testing things and showing people things. That's something that can only exist with people that want to be there and talk about guitar. So thank you guys for creating the community. All I am is just a conduit, and I get to host it and turn the switch on. I feel like the bartender. Like, I'm the one that unlocks the doors and says that we're open, and then everybody just comes in, right? So thank you guys for creating that opportunity to allow me to do that, and for the support and for pushing the channel forward. Somebody the other day commented on a video and they said, look at Andy now, it's multi-angle, it's high quality production. He goes, I love to go back to the first couple episodes where he's just setting his phone on his desk. And it's so true. It's so true. Those first couple episodes, I was like, here's an iPhone. This is what it is, But, it's you guys that have really made me want to level up this YouTube internet side of things. And, it sounds so stupid, but the subscriptions and the views and the likes, that's what moves the ball forward to allow us to dig deeper on all these other caveats and all these other sides of the industry that I typically wouldn't deal with because, I'm more of a live player than anything. That's what I do more than anything. So it's not really this. It's more about playing live. So thank you guys. It's just a lot of gratitude right now, and it's very sincere. This was a very blessed year, but also a very hard year. Emotionally and personally, really struggled with a lot. losing the matriarch of the family still just sucks. So, it's a two-sided thing, but 2025 has been, man, it just, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe all the things been going on. So thank you guys. The gratitude is there, and we'll see you in the new year. And I hope to see everyone, sporting some of this slick new merch that we got. It looks killer. And, we'll see you guys soon. I'll be posting stuff and making stuff. And, yeah, these AM4 patches will be coming out. Some various different projects we're working on. So, appreciate you guys. Happy New Year, everyone. Be safe. If you go out and you're going to have drinks, just call the Uber. Call the Lyft. It's better. It's better that way. Cheers, guys. Be blessed.